Look who's back. It's me. I'm back.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
I was gone I don't know if anyone noticed, but I was gone and I'm back now. So, just like Daredevil.
He was gone for a slightly shorter amount of time.
Yes.
It's just
Just a smidge shorter. But I'm back. So maybe I'm Daredevil. That's where I'm trying to get in. I'm blind as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me introduce our podcast.
That doesn't seem like a particular.
No.
Maybe we don't make blind jokes.
But anyway, welcome everyone. We're back. This is Watching Now, and this is our very special watching. Why is it special? It's special because we're here every week again. Guess what? We're here every week again, and it's the usual crew with a new member brought in by me because it's my podcast host on our other podcast, To All the Films We Judged Before, and also my bestie, Katie.
Hi.
Oh, applause. But we also have our regular team, which is Thomas.
Sup?
What? And also Ian. What?
Howdy.
Hey, who's got my hat?
Look, I'm Woody. Howdy.
Nice. So let's get right into it. Episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again just dropped. Well, not just dropped, but dropped. And we're going to talk about it first, without spoilers. So, without spoilers, Katie, what did you think of the episode?
I thought it was much better than the past 2 weeks. I think we're in a very good spot. We're on a trajectory that I like.
Okay.
I don't know why I decided to say that like I'm reading the news.
It's
Exactly.
works.
We're on a trajectory that I like. Good episode.
Good episode. Thomas, what did you think?
I thought it was fine. I enjoyed for what it was, but to me it felt a bit disjointed, and then I was just kind of like, eh. And I'm still waiting for something to properly hook me, because the first 3 episodes I've been like, they're good, but eh. So
Interesting.
But yeah, so it was fine.
That's
It
so
was
funny.
fine.
It's like the opposite of my note that I have here. I said best episode yet, definitely most consistent in tone.
Yep, we're going to get into that. Ian, what did you think without spoilers?
I liked it.
Excellent. Any other thoughts without spoilers?
I'm more towards the Tom end of this than the Katie end of this. It was all right. It did a job. It was just, I liked it.
Fair. Yeah. Gotta say, I liked it too. I don't know if I liked it more because I wasn't here for the first 2 episodes. But I will now say, tiny note. My thoughts on the first 2 episodes is, I know this is my unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna say it still. Yay. Not about Foggy, because
I was gonna say I would kill you.
Not about Foggy, because I did cry that Foggy died, although I knew it was going to happen. And I was like, I should be predicting these things because I'm getting really good at it. As much as I was really bad at it in the past, I can't just predict anything.
When it comes to Foggy dying, they made that so obvious beforehand, though.
I'm sorry, don't take this away from me, okay? I'm so proud of myself that I realized it, that Foggy is. But also, thanks for also getting rid of Karen. Nothing against the poor
She's coming back.
No.
She's coming back. She's
She's absolutely coming back.
I feel like she's gonna come back.
She's gonna come back.
Stop. You know.
Don't take my happiness away from me.
Again, I will continue to do that.
Fuck off. Anyway, I love Deborah Ann Wool. She's great. I fucking hate Karen's character. I'm so glad that I don't have to look at her in these episodes. That's it. That's my thoughts on the first 2 episodes. And Vincent D'Onofrio is a fucking genius. He was made for this role, and I'm really happy that he's back. This still stands for episode 3, so that's my spoiler-free thoughts on episode 3. I liked it. I now need, another person to come in, but we're gonna talk about it in a second. Now that we did that, this is your warning that now we're gonna talk about spoilers regarding episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again. So if you haven't watched the episode, go watch it and then come back and listen to us, because we're very fun and very smart sometimes, not always, just so you know. So spoilers in 3, 2, 1, go. I have excellent transitions.
Okay.
And they've gone through some evolutions.
I know, right? It's fucking great. Anyway, now that we're brushing my ego again, let's get into it.
Isn't that just what these podcasts are? Just gently brushing your ego just to keep you sane. That's just all these podcasts are.
Yes.
I don't do that. I have to keep her in check.
Yeah. Well, why do you think she started another one?
Damn!
I wasn't.
Yeah,
I wasn't boosting her ego enough.
We enable her so
She had
much,
to go elsewhere.
and we don't disagree with her ever because she threatens to violently attack us.
Oh yeah, she does that to me too. I'm just like, try me.
Yes. But the thing is that the guys are smart and they are properly afraid that I will do it. Especially now that we can actually, I already met Iain in real life, but now we're all gonna meet because we're going to Japan together. So
You guys, I'm not going.
Yes,
I don't have any money.
It's the it's the Kautsu people going to Japan to Star Wars celebration and to be in Japan as well, because why the fuck not? So now Tom knows as well that it's better to agree with me and enable my craziness. Otherwise,
Or maybe I just can't be fucked trying to stop it, and I just let it go.
Let it go.
See what happens. How crazy shit can get.
We were on such good track here, Tom.
I know.
I didn't.
I could see the track, and I'm like, man, this is a nice track. What if I
derail this car?
Yeah.
Now you didn't. So shut up. Shut up, Tom. So let's talk about episode 3, finally. So Matt is back in the courtroom after glorious, violent attack on 2 police officers who are assholes.
Who are not dead.
Who are not dead.
This was a point of contention at the end of the last episode. We were like, those guys seem like they should be dead.
Yes.
But honestly, apparently they're fine.
They're alive. They're very much alive. How? It's...
The way that guy's head hit the deck, he shouldn't be, but there you go.
That's at least a paraplegic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Matt made it harder for himself in that moment by that guy had to take the stand looking like a beaten piece of shit, and it made him look even more likable and
But he got that really good barb in though, in order to avoid black eyes, you got to have fast hands. He basically said you're shit at fighting.
Yeah.
All right, Homer, let's see the left.
That's our sassy Matt.
Oh, I missed him.
He's a sassy king. But yes, we're back in the courtroom, and let's talk about first. I think we're gonna just separate the 2 storylines that are going on, which is one of them is Kingpin and the other one is Matt. So let's talk about the Matt content for this episode first, because is Daredevil. So let's start with him. Let's start with the courtroom drama and how it unfolded and what we thought about it. And we're gonna start with our resident Daredevil maniac, who's Katie. So Katie, let's hear your thoughts first.
Well, there's a good question I think that comes out at the end of this episode, which is Matt actually a good lawyer? Like, is he a good lawyer or is he just a lucky lawyer? Because on the one hand, Hector did become completely acquitted for all of his crimes. Everybody,
yes.
The jury found him not guilty. Quite an amazing feat on that part. But also, I mean, he's an asshole. I forgot that he'd asked the judge to suppress all information about Hector being White Tiger. So when that moment happened, I was like, huh. And then when they got into the judge's chambers afterwards, I went, oh, right. I see why this was such a... Matthew. God damn it. I mean, it was a hell of a move, but it was an asshole move as well.
True.
Didn't ask anybody's permission.
He was an absolute arsehole.
It was a dick move.
And like, maybe it's in character because he's a lawyer and lawyers are generally dickheads, but I don't know. I expected more from Matt. Because he was so hypocritical in the instance. If it was the opposite way around, he would have flown off the handle.
I think that is pretty much like Matt is a hypocrite and is kind of a hypocrite to his core. And I said this after I read this post on Tumblr, and they were talking about how at Matt's core he kind of processes everything through his own sort of internal moral compass and all this sort of stuff, which means that he often, like, no matter what anybody else is doing, if he feels like that's wrong, then it's wrong. It's that kind of a thing. And when I looked at that, I was like, yeah, and that's extremely Catholic of him, which is why this episode got a lot of points in my book, because there's a lot of Catholic Matt in this episode, even if it's like subtle. It's still like more than we've had in the first couple of episodes. I'm specifically the moment. I loved this moment so much when Matt entered the empty courtroom and the light was spilling in, and he sat down in the pews of the courtroom like he was sitting in church because he can't bring himself to go into church. So his church is the courtroom. Oh, that's beautiful. That was beautiful. I audibly like went, oh, in that moment, because it was so gorgeous. But yeah, Matt's a massive hypocrite, and it's like, it's very much tied to how Catholic he is, in my personal opinion. So I don't think it, like, that just was like, yeah, that's peak Matt to me. I can't be disappointed in behaviour that I think is very in keeping with who he is as a person.
That's fair enough. I would say. Thomas, what did you think?
This is where I felt it was really disjointed, because it didn't feel like a trial. It just felt like you didn't see the whole picture. It was just like random witnesses, and that was it. Because it would have like, okay, we're starting the trial, and they would cut to the Kingpin stuff and come back, and apparently like all this stuff has happened, and then you get a little snippet, then go back to it, and like by the end when he's like, you are acquitted, I'm like, okay, so he just gets told he's White Tiger, but then and it's like, oh no, he's G. It's like fucking what? And it just didn't feel cohesive. I think my thought process, this is where the reshoots came in. Whilst it was interesting, I was like, okay, this is serviceable for a courtroom drama part, but I didn't think it was that good.
I think, altogether, I think I felt the same way, where everything, and I know it's serious and it's, it's just not like a movie, but everything happened so fast. And just so like it felt like that they just wanted to get it out of the way to get to where the ending was.
My mother's dead and I killed her. Here's the weapon and cuff me, thank you very much. Guilty, sentenced to murder.
And it like the entire thing of like, there's a witness, the witness decides, seeing all those cops dead, okay, I'm not gonna say anything because now I'm so afraid. Everyone knew that that's gonna happen. Then we're gonna pull the White Tiger card. But it just all felt like very, very rushed, like let's get through this as quickly as possible, kind of thing. Even though they made it seem like that this is gonna be like a big anchor point to the series, where
there's a very, very good production-based reason for that, and that's because Kumar died all of the stuff in the courtroom was filmed before the reshoots, and then when the show went into creative overhaul in 2023, Kumar, who played Hector, passed away from cancer, so they kind of had to end it at that point. There was nowhere else it could go, because otherwise they'd have to recast him, and I think they made good choice to do what they did, because he's so good. He was only in 3 episodes and he made such a like impact. I think his stuff in that courtroom is really, he was just really fantastic. I felt like, so I think if there is a sense of like all of this stuff has to be in this episode, it comes from the fact that they couldn't use any more of it later on.
I mean, okay, but then I would even argue that if there were reshoots, and there were reshoots, we know that, I would have considered maybe changing that storyline, since the reshoots were massive, as as we know. And yeah, I know it sounds bad because he really is very, very good, and it's really sad that we're not going to see him in anything else moving forward, because he was an excellent actor. But I think I would have considered, instead of like such a rush through storyline, I would have considered maybe letting that go a little bit, or change it somehow where it's I don't know how I would have changed it, because
I don't know, because I feel like from what I can see where it's going, this was them changing it to like fit in where they're gonna. Because I think honestly, I felt like with everything that they had and how it ended, and where that I think kind of really obviously points to where it's going. I think that this made the most sense to me. I can't see, like, if it had been different, I imagine it probably would have taken because like the initial version of the show was it was going to be more of a courtroom drama, and I think that this was the point. I think this is a really big turning point from like, this is where most of the stuff from the previous version sits, and everything from here forward, I think, is more likely to be more from where we go from, like the newer stuff, the reshoot stuff. Because they've done, I think, 4 episodes.
My point here is like, we've had 3 episodes and we've given reshoots as an excuse for bits that haven't felt right in the first 3 episodes. There's only so many times where we can say reshoots. Yeah, reshoots. Maybe that's why the quality's gone down a little bit. Next week we can't give reshoots in it as an excuse for incohesion.
Yeah, I think I agree, because we have to see what comes next in order to judge the entire thing, or what we've seen so far.
That's true.
Because so far, yes, I think it's good. It's not even close for me to what we got originally. For now, I don't doubt really that can change as we move forward, but at the same time, who knows, kind of thing. Like, we have to wait and see. So I would say that until we see where this goes, it's very hard to feel a certain way about these episodes so far. But if I look at it just as these 3 things, yeah, so far it's a bit incohesive. There's something missing still.
Where is it? Where is it?
I still think this is the most consistent that we've had so far. Like, in comparison to the first 2 episodes, this felt the most even keeled to me. Like, the first 2 felt like I felt like you could really obviously tell where 2 different creative ideas were coming together. This one, even if there were still bumps, and I'm not saying the courtroom stuff was the best courtroom stuff I've ever seen, obviously not, but it was serviceable, and it worked. It still told the story in a way that I felt was clear, and like followed from one thing into the next. There was nothing that made me kind of confused or anything like that, and if I was confused, it was simply because I forgot about certain things that happened the week before. I'm not like, even if I mention the reshoots, it's not that I'm like trying to be like, oh, it means it's all right. I'm just trying to give like context to what we're seeing, as opposed to like being overly harsh on something that they had issues. There's like considering those things. I think that they did an admirable job, especially in this episode.
I'm definitely not saying that they didn't. I'm just saying, well, I Tom might and be annoyed at this, but the reshoots in Captain America 4 were fecking awful, and everything and nothing like tied together. Tom kind of liked it, but you can see all the reshoots, but it's not a fucking excuse. It's still an awful film. Damn! According to me, and not according to Tom.
I think it's more of just like a explanation as opposed to it's not an excuse. It's just like, but I think it's like I'm more inclined to be kinder about something if I understand the context in which it was made.
I've got 2 points about
Yes.
the courtroom stuff. One, where did they get that Jorah Foreman? He definitely like, and the next person out of the Big Brother house is dumb, 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 dumb. Not guilty, yeah.
On the count of murder in the first degree, the jury finds the defendant
One eternity later.
not guilty.
It was such
You
a
really
big
had it.
pause. He milked that pause for all of its worth.
It was his 5 seconds of fame. He had to take it.
Yeah. He had to go for it.
He had to go for it. And then the other point is, let's talk about the police.
I think they're to me they're qualifying it way more than they did in those first 2 episodes. I mean, I still think it's a little bit wishy-washy, but I think that's just going to be the case. It's going to be in the entire season because it's
Matt's
an
whole
American
case
show.
rested on the police being good guys. So, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to mention that as well. Like it, as you said, like it seemed like they were committing more to the fact, like police force in New York, they kind of all dicks. But yeah, if they are wishy-washy about it, then it just kind of makes it go in the whole over the course of the season.
Matt specifically says that all your guys love him, so you know his case rests on them being truthful, believable guys.
I think it's that thing. I think it can be summed up in that very first episode with McDuffie in the bar in Josie's, where she says, "Oh, well, vigilantes are just like cops in that there are some good ones and some bad ones." And I went, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" Propaganda is back again. I think that's going to be the thesis of the entire show. Essentially, is that like, you know, there are going to be some good vigilantes and there will be some bad vigilantes, and they'll equate that to the idea of that there are good cops and bad cops, even though cops, you know, the police state in America is a fascist system built off Jim Crow laws.
Tom, what were you going to say?
Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say I kind of hope they double down. Just like I would hope that just for something different, just double down on like, yeah, there are some good like cops here and there, but a lot of this specific precinct is just a bunch of dickheads. And like I think that'd be interesting take, especially given the symbols that they all use. I feel like that would be an interesting way to have that conversation.
I think it is very obvious that they're heading down the route of like the real world officers adopting the Punisher symbol as like an even more it's like a symbol of corrupt cop, like corrupt policing essentially in the US, where they're pushing more for like violent rule, essentially militaristic rule. And
when does this happen? Because this whole stuff has blown way past my field of vision.
It wasn't like huge, I think, but like there was definitely a rise in like, especially around after 2020 and the massive Black Lives Matter protests, when there was a push from the other side where cops were being like, well, Blue Lives Matter, but there was a big adoption of like the Punisher because they're like, oh, well, he's edgy and he uses guns and so he kind of represents us. And I'm like, you guys don't understand who Frank Castle is as a fucking character.
I always thought that was about Smurfs.
What you talking about? What you talking about?
What?
Say again?
I always thought it was about Smurfs.
Okay, you did
Elaborate.
say Smurfs.
I did say Smurfs.
Anyway.
You thought Blue Lives Matter was about Smurfs?
I thought Blue Lives Matter was just a random colour. I didn't think it was
No,
anything.
it's about cops.
I didn't. No, that's not being made clear to anybody.
I mean,
It just it just felt like it was being argumentative for being argumentative's sake. The different color. That's all. I think Katie's frozen. She's so happy. She's so happy with my comment there.
Every word out of her mouth makes you want to be like, oh, honey.
Sometimes I'd love to know what goes on inside of your head. I want to know
I didn't think it was
how
really
your
smooth. I just thought it was a random color. This is why I stopped looking at the news, guys. It's just so depressing.
Yes.
changing it to still sort of weird, depressing, not really. After the end of episode where Matt beat people up and was screaming, and it seemed like a big, like, oh my God, I've fought people again. Yeah, this time it looked like it didn't affect him. He washed his hands once with the bloody knuckles to, like, I guess, parallel between him and Fisk when they both beat people up. But, like, other than that, he didn't seem all that torn up about it. Maybe he had a bit more hard liquor in the office after a case, but that could have just gone the case is stressful. Yeah, I kind of expected more from this sort of like big emotional moment, like, oh my God, I'm back to fighting people. And then going, the next time he sees the cop, he's going to be like, dude, look, I'm sorry. He's just like, fight better, bitch. Like, funny, but like, yeah, I was expecting kind of more from that train of thought.
Yeah. I think no, I not think. I really hope they're gonna find a better road moving forward. I don't think it would make any sense for them to try and perfectly replicate what already was. And, that's why I actually think that making some big changes to, like, who are the people who are surrounding Matt were very important. Because if they would have just went with trying to replicate with what already went really well and was great and we loved it, that's just doomed to fail. So I don't mind them trying out new things, but I definitely have to agree with the sentiment that it needs to become more consistent and more, just on a much more paved out road. Because, and this is where we're gonna switch between the two storylines we're following. I think what they're doing with Kingpin is actually fantastic. And I'm like, I know I am biased, and I always, make sure to tell this to everyone when it comes to certain TV shows and whatnot, because I really, really, really love Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk. And I do have this tiny thought in the back of my head that if he's there, it cannot be wrong or bad, because he's just so good.
This is such good shit.
I mean, as an acting point, like that way. And again, he just proved that. But I really do think that, once again, because I had this feeling back with the original series as well, his storyline is just a bit more interesting to me, I think. Again.
No, I understand, and I totally I love that for you. It's just like I love watching Vincent D'Onofrio. He's so in there. He's just so watchable. Obviously, I just do not care about it nearly as much as I want to know what's going on with Matt.
I mean, you're very on brand. Both of you are very on brand. So Kingpin, Matt. Those two over here going, well, both is fine,
They're just defending their boy toys. It's fine.
I don't have a lot of notes on Wilson.
This is the thing. I have one bullet point on Fisk, and it says, Fisk, your wife wants to be a girl boss. You should let her.
No, absolutely not.
I was gonna say she's just gonna gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. That's all that's her mandate in life.
That is her mandate in life. Let her be who she is.
I am whatever you say I am.
It kind of seemed like that they are trying to move to a certain way with Fisk, but I'm really glad that, yes, again, I was correct. No, they don't. No, they don't. It's still Wilson Fisk, and he's still gonna move around in the shadows like how he did before. And I love that for him. And I just, I'm really glad because we talked about this before with other things, both with Katie on our other podcast and with the two of you as well, is that it's getting a bit tiring that we are trying to redeem bad guys and trying to give them like an arc where it's like, oh, actually they are really nice. No, they're not. Wilson Fisk is just just awful altogether.
Born
As much
again.
as
He's born again. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm blabbering about. But he's still Wilson Fisk. He's still the
Absolutely.
kingpin, and I love that for him.
I 100% agree with you because like the point I made I made a little point in my brackets after I put it. I was like, I said he won't because on some level he can't stand that she did a better job at the business than he did when he was away, and now he's trying to wrench that power back, and because he needs to be the most important person in the room and the most in charge. And then I went, Fisk may be playing a good guy, but my God, he is still a man.
I just can't wait for the turn of events to happen. Not just for Fisk, by the way, but for Matt as well, because I think if they get that right, we're good. And I think we're definitely on that matter, on where the the turning will happen. I think we're on the right bet. So that's why I am hopeful for the rest of the series, because I think they can nail it. I think they can nail it, and it's going to be thanks to those two actors behind Katie, because they are actually really, really fucking good in their respective roles.
I felt like Fisk's stuff this week felt thrown together structure wise. Like it just felt like random moments, and they were trying to they realized, oh shit, we haven't got any Fisk stuff. Let's do this so like it looks like we always wanted to advance the story, because everything just felt again like the courtroom stuff. It felt disjointed, maybe more so, and I felt this way for the first 2 weeks as well with Fisk. I don't know. I'm hoping like after next week it sort of picks up and like as you said before, like find a assault one part that's just like straight ahead. But I feel like his story has been the one that's also been hurt a lot through the reshoots. I know Ian said didn't want to keep using it as an example. But yeah, whilst I enjoyed Vincent D'Onofrio's performance, I feel like the story for me is a bit weak at the moment and doesn't really have a path forward.
Oh,
I
I
guess.
disagree with that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I think that this episode is all set up for Wilson. He ran on a campaign of vigilantes bad. Vigilante got acquitted. Another vigilante, we'll come to that in a minute, takes out the other vigilante. Everybody's just get away rid of all the vigilantes. That's going to be his campaign in the shadows and not in the shadows, because he is a front person for the government at the moment. But he's obviously going to coerce or try to coerce BB in the media, like a media campaign against them as well. Some of my favorite bits are the BB's reports with the normal people, but
No, it's
like
just, what's
the
funny to me is
heartwarming.
I have a note in my thing is that I don't think her segments are adding anything.
I
I'm
love
finding
them,
them
man.
really like just like thrown in.
Mm.
And like I understand they're kind of in there as like interstitial bits and pieces, but I kind of wish there was more to them. If they were going to be put, I don't know. At the moment, I feel like they're very thin to me. I kind of wish they were doing more.
I don't want them to do more. I just want them to give us little snippets of what the people are thinking, because like some of Court of Law is handled by the public eye. Some of Kingpin is in the public eye. The vigilantes are in the public eye. I want to know little bits of what the people on the street think about all those things.
I feel like they need to get a better camera though, because how
Yeah,
is I understand
she's like
it's supposed
They
to be.
keep
on the
blowing
thing.
out the film.
Yeah, I was gonna say I understand it's supposed to be like to make it look different from everything else, but like in the year of our Lord and Savior 2025, how the fuck do you not have a decent camera? I'm sure my phone could take a better fucking video than whatever they're doing. It looks like
They
oh, like the mid 2000s DSL or whatever camera.
Tom, they want to be
What?
edgy. They
It's
want to be
aesthetic.
edgy.
They want to show they want to be artsy fartsy.
Yeah.
Of course.
I think that's part of what's pissing me off.
Yeah, I can definitely sense a conceptual paradigm that informs the anti-narrative classical media on so many levels.
The artsy fartsiness of
Yeah,
it.
the way that they keep cutting to like slow motion shots of people just walking down the street. I'm like, fuck off with that. Just like
I saw that as BB's character though, not what the director of photography is doing. I feel like that's BB's character wanting to be that
just-
person.
hate it.
Well, maybe you should say that to BB's face. It's
Like, girl, if you're gonna do Vox Box, can you have more people talking as opposed to all of these environmental shots, please? I want to hear what the people are saying, not what like a pigeon is doing.
Oh, but that tree had a really interesting thought to say about it all.
I also point out that it is a bit the cinematographers because they're doing it outside of it as well, where they'll do like transition bits where they'll just show people walking, they'll just show like shots of New York, and I'm like, you can do it in the BB stuff, but don't do it outside of that if it's going to be a character choice thing.
Otherwise, how would you know you're in New York?
True.
Not like they talk about it every episode.
No,
I like
it's
it.
only through pictures, okay?
I like it.
Jeez.
I liked it more than the actual fucking courtroom stuff.
Yes, let's talk about that ending scene where I think my jaw hit the floor so hard. I was very pissed off at first for like I think for like 2 minutes of my jaw being like I was like, are you gonna put dirt on my man's name? Because then we're gonna have serious problems here because Frank is the best. Also a murderer, but he's still the best, okay? And it's Johnny Brental, so how fucking dare you? That was my first thought, and then I realized, oh,
yeah,
no, it's not him.
No,
no, it's not him.
It's really not.
It's not him.
You're a phony! Hey, this guy's a great big phony!
I've been slow for like 2 weeks. I don't know what's going on. I think I'm like something is happening in my brain. I'm getting old of something fucking thing like that. So it took a minute to be like, okay, this is gonna be our conflict. Gotcha.
This is exactly which is why I really thought that the end of this episode clarified a lot of where we were going.
Yes.
To me, especially with everything, because to me, you correct me if I'm wrong, kind of a thing. But like to me, that's so obviously the guy that was on the stand that Matt beat up.
Probably.
That's my thought anyway,
it could be
because I
any
think
of
it's the
them.
most obvious choice because he's already been set up kind of as like an antagonistic force. Like to me, that this makes the most sense. I don't know. He was the first guy we saw with the tattoo, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I think it was the guy in the courtroom who had it on his neck that we saw first.
There's that guy as well, but we saw one of the two guys on the platform had it on his wrist when they were beating up Nikki. So in my head, like immediately I was like, that's the cop that lied his ass off on the stand. Which, by the way, if I go back to the courtroom stuff, the thing that genuinely did kind of piss me off when I was watching it, I was like, why has nobody gone after these guys for perjury? Because so many people perjured themselves on the stand.
We can't.
They just straight up lied. And like, if they knew that their witness was going to be like had a chance to be unreliable, is it like? I mean, I don't know, like in U.S. law, but like, surely they should be able to like record like a tape of him, like giving testimony, so that they didn't have to like worry about him. I don't know. Maybe that's just not a thing, which would be very understandable because I suppose you can't prove that they're not being coerced if there's somebody off camera and all this sort of stuff. But he was coerced in the courtroom with all the fucking cops that were sitting in the stand.
It's very sad that the guys dead in real life. I would have liked to know what the amulet fucking did.
Well, here's the thing. I think we'll find out. Again, I haven't read the comics, but I'm in spaces online that tell me information about comic stuff. Both I think his niece ends up becoming the White Tiger at some point. So I think they're probably, and one of his other family members, I can't remember who exactly.
I don't have friends. I got family.
So I think that one of his other family members is going to take up the mantle in his place. I think that's the vibe.
I think it's more likely that douche that wanted an autograph from the psychologist woman who's not done anything since, but who was a main character in Wednesday. He's the curly haired douche who came for an autograph.
Yeah, that a lot of people are calling that guy Muse, who's a different vigilante. I don't know anything about it. That's just what I've seen
He's a curly haired
online.
douche.
Going back onto Punisher instead of talking about douches, my big fear is that they're going to use the Punisher not to tell this story, but to springboard into a Punisher series or special. There's a chance it won't happen, but like I know Marvel, and they love to like set things up and then like use, especially with their Disney Plus shows, set something up and then springboard into something else. And with the shortening run times, because each episode so far has gone shorter and shorter and shorter. Classic Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't try and squeeze so much in that everything just loses focus and then nothing is good. That so whilst I was like, ooh, I know that guy. I've seen clips of him, or that logo, and I do love John Bernthal. That's my big fear going into any further. It's like, please just don't lose focus. This is the story. This is Matt and Fisk's story. Please don't just be like, oh, by the way, for like an episode or two, it's just going to become the Punisher. Flashbacks to Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian.
I think that because I know for sure they're going to they're doing a like do you remember the Werewolf by Night like short film? They're doing one for the Punisher that John Bernthal's writing, but I don't think it's going to be like if there's any storyline that's happening, it's in this season. It'll happen in this season. I think whatever happens after that will be. I think that will be separate. I think it will be, as far as I can tell, that's the impression I got from the way that the showrunner has been talking about it. They're very proud of what they're doing with the Punisher storyline. It's very obviously tied into the adoption of him as like a hero to corrupt policing in the US. Very distracting that Lou's making moustache faces at me whilst I'm like talking about fascism.
You're only allowed one fascism tangent per episode. Everyone gets one.
I think the Fisk stuff and the Matt stuff is very inherently tied to what is going on with the Punisher. So I think the Matt stuff and the Punisher stuff are going to be like, they're like properly like that. I'm not as worried about that, essentially, is what I'm saying. It's extremely obvious that even if it's not specifically Officer Powell, I think his name is, that I wrote down in my notes, that was a cop who killed Hector Ayala.
I would agree with that.
I think that seems abundantly clear to me.
Yeah, okay.
As much as we talked about, the entire episode, there's one thing that no one mentioned, and now I'm gonna, because I was all ears, and there was one name that came up. They mentioned someone who hasn't been mentioned in the MCU just yet, and that is Officer Morales.
Officer Wong, Officer Morales.
I knew you were going to say this. I really don't think it's as deep as people are making it out to be.
It's especially because if it's talking about his dad's name's Officer Davis.
Yeah, his name is Davis. I think if it's anything, it's also Morales is a really common last name.
Not to stump on your happiness, by the way.
Like,
really
I mean, it would be nice if it was something more, but I do think that it was a bit like, okay, I think maybe people might be turning that into more than it actually is.
You guys can.
What's happened in this universe is Miles has joined the police force.
Yes.
Why would he do that?
Because he didn't become Spider-Man. He didn't become Spider-Man. I don't know.
Yet.
He did not become Spider, so he'd become policeman.
He didn't get snapped. He had to do something within those 7 years, you know? He didn't have Peter
God,
to
I forgot about
stuff.
that.
He found himself. He found purpose.
Yeah. You know, I
found purpose in life.
I keep forgetting that there was a massive 5-year jump that, like...
Yeah. 5, 7?
Happened.
7?
No, it was 5.
Oh.
5.
It was 5 years. The blip.
5 years. The blip. Blippy the blip.
I mean, it's amazing. Completely off topic. It is amazing that everybody called that snap for ages, and then immediately afterwards, Marvel were like, "Yeah, we're calling it the blip," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" I suppose it makes sense. Nobody really knows that there was a snap that happened, but like, for fuck's sake, guys.
Yeah, they just didn't want us to be right. That's it.
It was just governments. They were trying to play down it. It's a blip.
It's a blip. Blippity blip.
Blippity blip.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Forget about it.
Can I just say like a couple, like two small little things?
Okay, but make it quick.
Very quick. I really liked the scene between Matt and Heather at the end where she does that little blessing where she says, "May God hold them all in the hollow of his hand." That really got me. I'm still on copium. Here's how we can win. Foggy will be back.
Move on to the second point before I tell you you're wrong.
A little bit to do with what Tom was saying earlier. I do think that Matt should be more of a mess, especially post Foggy. I think it's like, even if it seemed like his life was together, I feel like the Matt I know would absolutely have something be cracking under the strain, of having lost his best friend. And while I think it's realistic to somebody, the stuff that they're doing in the show at the moment, I don't think it's realistic to Matt. So, yeah, that's it. I'm done.
I want to rebut that to say we've just seen a show where he's literally been an asshole for the whole episode, and you don't think that's cracking under the strain?
No, I think that's Matt being Matt.
Fine.
Yes. Let's finish this with our rating. So, transition. Yes, I'm preparing for the Punisher to arrive, okay? Leave me alone. How would you rate this episode? And we're going to start with Thomas.
I would give it a 6. As in, I still found some enjoyment with it, and it kept the series moving forward, but the choppiness and not, for me at least, not feeling very cohesive in terms of like story structure and like everything like that. It just, it was fine. And I probably enjoyed the first episodes a bit more, not by much really, but I'd probably land on 6.
Yeah, but 7. 7, less than last week. I liked it. Most of my points this week has been rebutting people liking stuff, but it's not that I don't like it. I just think it could be better, and that's all I'm saying. I liked it.
Okay.
I like
it. Good. You're allowed to like it. It's okay.
But just don't say it like that again. It sounds really creepy.
It does. It's like, Katie, how would you rate this episode?
I was going to give it an 8, but apparently I'm in the minority.
You can still give it 8.
It was great. I did. I thought it was a really solid episode of television. It's obviously not like, here's the thing. Again, the bar is Daredevil season 3, which is perfect TV. It's not that, but it was much better than it was the first 2 weeks. IMO.
Yeah.
So 8.
Yeah.
Then.
8.
Okay. 8.
I feel good about that.
You've had this long to think about it whilst we've been giving it scores.
You're no better than the jury guy.
I'm being dramatic. Leave me alone.
She's that one. She's the head juror.
Yeah,
I am. I'm having my 5-minute fame. Okay, shut up.
Dramatic.
Is he all right?
Pause.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, 6. It needs to. And it needs to improve still. We're getting there. I was thinking because Fisk, but yeah, still 6. The moment Frank arrives, that's gonna go up.
Shoot up like 3 points.
So
you and your male characters who are shredded and kill people. Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
I was about to say, if I may make one last point, I think Matt looks really good in that blue suit that they've given him. It's a really nice color on him. It's just a good suit. I keep looking at him and I'm like, that was a nice choice. I like that.
You know who looks good in blue?
Braun. We all know.
Yes. Blue booty.
You two horn dogs.
This is the wrong franchise.
Stop objectifying men for your own pleasure. Jesus. Have some decency.
I'll objectify the women too.
Don't objectify anyone.
Have you seen Vanessa? Good lord.
Okay. Don't objectify most people.
I didn't say shit today. What are you talking about?
I know what you mean. Don't try and lie. You've objectified them in your head all the time whenever you watch these things. It just depends if you say it or not.
Look, there's shots coming up of Matt just lying in bed with his like cross on his
cock. Did you just say cock?
No, I said cross. It just got stuck.
I was mired next to Katie.
That would have been
his cock got stuck in your throat.
Stop it.
Hey, those are your words, not mine.
You know.
Those weren't my words.
It sounded like your words, Katie. I'm not gonna lie.
I was just gonna say I was gonna enjoy the cross on Matt's chest. And I'm gonna mention it later. You're the one who took it anywhere worse than that.
You said cock. You know, they just had it from there. And it's natural because he's a man. Of course he has a cock, but
yeah, but it would be really, really frightening if it was somehow on his chest.
Who knows? He can do like, you know.
No.
He's been doing yoga.
Well, he's just a bit blessed, you know.
I'm also deeply asexual as a human being, so this is just wild conjecture.
Yes. Calm down, everyone. It's okay to like cocks, especially if they reach up to the chest. That's next level. Look, I've been behaving, and now you brought it out, so it's hard to calm it down. Okay, the note aside, we're gonna be back next week. Until then, watch our other podcast. I'm going to promote ourselves to all the films we judged before. Next time, we're going to talk about Mickey 17. Be good until then. Watch Daredevil, the original, and this one as well, and watch us because we're fun, as you can see. The example is right here. And read Couch Soup articles. Read us because we are very fun. And then what else? What else do I have to say? Subscribe. Rate us. Tell us what you think about Daredevil Born Again, and we will be back next week with the same crew, being all silly and crazy and whatnot, because that's how we roll. So until then, be good.
Bye.
That did get on my tit a bit.
That's first I've heard that saying.
You not heard that before?
No, I never heard that before.
To be fair, it's usually tits. I just decided to pick one.
Fair.
Left or right? Go on, Tom.
I'm done. I'm just distracted now. Fuck.
The titty talk is what? Titty talk?
I've actually legit forgotten what the fuck was I saying. I've lost it completely. Oh, no, it's gone.
Be more serious. Come on, what are you guys doing?
I'm not.
Come on,
just start talking.
Just start talking.
No, I don't.
No,
for God's sake.
No. You don't want to talk no more.
Honestly,